The Persona series has never shied away from conveying disturbing truths or showing us harsh subject matter. There are plenty of examples across all the mainline games that showcase the series' ability to perform meta-commentary on a wide range of issues, be they political, social, or even issues of the self. However, there's one game in this series that doesn't just shy away from it, but makes those topics its entire point. Persona 5. Arguably the most popular game in the franchise, even set to get another remake for its 10th anniversary if reported information is true. Persona 5 makes it clear to us that it has no problems tackling the issues riddled in Japanese society and politics. But the issues displayed in P5 go far beyond just Japanese society. Yes, the game is most catered to that society, but really you could find the same issues everywhere else in the world. Injustice and corruption is not just tied to one culture. But a continuous set of scenes displays that the best. The interrogation scenes when you are sat in that dingy room with Sae Niijima, recalling your escapades through the metaverse, all while beaten, tired, hazy, and drugged up against your will. And while later on it's discovered that the Phantom Thieves had planned to be caught and Ren himself had volunteered to be the one arrested, that does not take away from the actual abuse that we are shown. Hello everyone, my name is King Kosuke and welcome back to the channel. If you're new around here, consider liking and subscribing, but if you're an old face, you'll know that this is really the first time I've done a video like this. But for as spontaneous as it is, after beginning another playthrough of Persona 5, I really couldn't help but talk about this once it popped into my head. So, with that being said, let's get into it. When you get through the amazing graphics and the wonderful track of Persona 5's opening, you're met with a contrastingly bleak scene. After getting caught, Joker finds himself in a brutal interrogation, slumped over a chair with needles littering the ground, truth serums to get him to confess. He already looks beaten and bruised. He sits there in between the realms of consciousness and unconsciousness, all while corrupt officials in black suits monitor him. It is clear that he's been there for a while. He's injured, bruised, and beat up, even taking another kick from one of the men, who then begins to step on Joker's head. At which point, Joker begins to look over to a video camera recording the interrogation. The man interrogating Ren grabs his head, mocking him for thinking that anything the camera records could be used for video evidence, delivering another kick when Ren is flat on the ground. The interrogator then reaches for a clipboard, reading off a list of charges that we, the player, can only assume to be false. Ren is then uncuffed, thrown to the ground, and handed the clipboard, a confession under his name. A confession that he has no choice but to sign. Outside the interrogation room, Sae Niijima, a public prosecutor, talks her way into interrogating us herself, though she is told that she will have little time. Though her methods are much more humane, she isn't exactly on our side, at least not at the start. However, as the game progresses, that begins to change. But what if Sae never got her time? What if she was never allowed to see Ren? What if even when she did see him, her mind was on her perfect record rather than the truth? And while P5 tackles one of these questions, all of them are very real things others have to face. While we, the player, watch Joker go through all this in an opening cutscene, real people have to go through this, and as of recent, those numbers have only skyrocketed. For a very large majority of people, especially now in the US, that opening scene is an experience they unfortunately have to suffer through. And unlike Ren, there might not be a Sae to come help them at all. Or if there is, they might care more about their own victory streak than the truth. Though this scene only shows snippets of that grim reality, in the actual timeline of the game's events, that scene occurs during a heist on Sae's palace, a palace that is all about corruption in the justice system. Corruption she actively took part in. And while there were thieves about to change her heart, in the real world, it is far less likely that a prosecutor dead set on a guilty verdict is suddenly going to feel some empathy. That is because, much like many other systems in the US and many other places in the world, the legal system is run like a business. Instead of an institution meant to protect the rights of the people and to enforce justice, it has become a monetized tool for those in power to do as they please while everyone else foots the bill. The verdict of guilty and innocent no longer depend on evidence or fact. It comes down to how much either side can spare in legal expenses. to an officer making a fake arrest who's then given a promotion and a bonus for it and then paid to show in court, a wrongful guilty verdict is still a guilty verdict. And to the prosecutor just trying to boost their numbers and improve their record, an innocent person's life being pretty much forfeit is just another step on the stairs to a big office. Neither party cares, because it is in their best interest not to, and the defense attorneys hired to care are in the same boat. As for public defense attorneys, some might care, some might not. Oftentimes, due to how stressful and demanding their schedule is, they are unable to divulge their full time to one case and must take whatever lands on their desk. They too are simply cogs in the larger machine that is the justice system, a truly unjust game where the chances of winning are almost none. And that is exactly how those in power designed the system to be. After years and years of changes and alterations and additions, our leaders have perfectly tailored the system to serve them in every way. And displaced families, unfortunate citizens, wrongfully accused common folk, and innocent passerbys pay the toll for it. To say the system needs reform is an understatement, and the interrogation that Ren has to endure and the kind of methods Sae uses originally provide a daunting yet clear picture into the kinds of dealings that happen. It's almost comedic just how flagrantly evil it is, and the fact that these horrible events are now happening in such broad daylight outside the world of a video game truly speaks to the direction that the world is heading. Obviously, this has been a problem. Police violence and illegal treatment of those who are incarcerated has been an issue for quite some time, but I'd argue that recently it's been getting so much worse, and I could think of a few examples. Obviously, for reasons that I'm sure you know, I can't outwardly say anything without being buried by the algorithm, but we're all aware of recent events in the United States and the consequences of it. We can only hope that this massive glacier of ice in our world soon melts. And said glacier aside, the events that transpired on a certain island also put into context just how brazen the elites of the world have become. At this point, we're evolving past a Persona plotline and crossing into a One Piece arc. But how do those events tie in here? Well, it's quite obvious. Further evidence to the point. The justice system, although doing the best it can, at least publicly, is hiding the guilty. And even when we believed one of them to be convicted, their connections and their power allowed them to escape in such a disgusting way, convincing us of their deaths, then coming back onto social media just a few short years later. They don't just use the justice system to hide, they exploit it to escape. And the absolute audacity to do so in such public ways is beyond disturbing. It's downright sickening. All of this while innocent people suffer in cages and cower behind bars they do not deserve to be entrapped by. They laugh at the law while honest citizens are terrorized by it. And the events depicted in Ren's interrogation expose those awful truths perfectly. It is disturbing, it is brutal, it is gut-wrenching, and it is honest. Thank you all so much for watching. As I stated at the beginning, this video was the product of impulse upon rewatching this scene. With the recent happenings of the world so fresh in my mind, I really couldn't help but draw connections. Though, as always, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this little rant, please like and subscribe. With that being said, I will see you all in the next video. Peace, peace.